Hello everyone, welcome to World Cricket Chat. Sometimes I think I should change the way I do these introductions. But this is Suneer Chowdhary and I'm Shruti Chopra. Hi Suneer.
Hi Shruti, how are you? Why are you looking so different? Is it because England have suddenly named a side that a lot of Brits, a lot of English experts are not too fond of?
I don't think that has anything to do with the way I'm looking. But yes, it has become a little bit of a talking point, a sore point for a lot of people. I've heard such commentary happen even on BBC Radio.
That sore point, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Something that was not sore, at least from a predictions perspective, was...
I think you just want your pat on the back again, don't you?
Of course, I do. Doesn't happen too often. As I said last time, that was the first time, twice in a row, predicted that England is going to win the ODI series 2-1, and that's exactly how it went. Although after India won that first match, I thought they should have done better than that and won the series, but hats off to England. Played like the #1 side in the world.
I think maybe my face color expression is all related to the way in which India lost. It was just poor to watch and a bit of a waste of time sometimes, I think, when you watch games where it's not competitive.
Wish we had known before we start watching. Wish we know before we start watching that the result of the game would be so and so. So we can probably switch off the TV according to Shruti.
Yep, I know. But that is not the point. We are going to try and preview the test.
Why are we trying? We are going to be previewing.
Or should I say I'm going to try and predict?
Yes, you are.
Yes, so that's my attempt. And hopefully this time I will get something right.
You got the first one right.
I did. I got the T20s right.
Yeah.
But let's just get straight into this. Do you want to talk about that sore point first, or what else? What do you want to talk about?
I would like to talk about something that English love to speak about, and more so, they're speaking about right now.
The weather.
The weather.
Do you know that growing up, if you ever want to strike up a conversation with a stranger in the UK, all you have to do is talk about the weather?
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Would you do that as well when you were in London?
I think that would just happen to me rather than me striking up conversations. So.
I can imagine that. Yep. So, what about the weather? Have you ever experienced... I'm sure you're not experienced this weather sitting in Mumbai. We're talking about how everyone out there is speaking about how hot it's there in London, how it's a drought-like situation. Have you ever experienced that? Did you ever experience that growing up in London?
It was always called the Indian summer. So whenever the weather was on TV and it was very hot, they would actually label it the Indian summer. You will always get a couple of weeks during the summer where it gets very, very hot.
That hot?
I've had water fights with friends after school because it's just been so hot, and we've been allowed to take off our blazers, which is something I think that's happening at Lord's as well.
Yes, exactly. So. MCC members have been allowed to take off their blazers because of that kind of weather. And but for this long, you said a couple of weeks, probably a week or two.
A heat wave which will come and go.
We had faced the heat wave last time when we were in London for the Champions Trophy. In fact, it was a combination, a mishmash of a lot of things there. It was a heat wave in London. I take a bus, get to Cardiff to watch the Champions League final. Woefully underdressed because I think that it's going to be as hot as it is in London. I get there in shorts and a very thin t-shirt.
That's the biggest mistake to make in the UK.
No blazer, no jacket, no sweater, and I'm actually searching for something which is warm out there, and I fall ill. And the next day I have to get to Birmingham where India is playing Pakistan, and it's raining there. So I think
I suffered the most in that match.
I think Pakistan suffered the most in that match.
Yeah, but I think weather-wise, it was freezing. It was cold. The match kept getting interrupted.
I didn't feel all of that.
And a couple of days later, India versus South Africa, I got
a sunburn.
I got a sunburn at the Oval. But yes, so we have seen
We've spoken
variations.
a lot about. We're talking like Brits. We're talking so much about weather in a preview to you are one. You have a Brit passport.
I'm allowed. But does that then obviously affect the pitches?
Oh, you're talking about cricket now.
Yes, I am.
Yes, it does. We've seen, actually not a lot of people spoke about this during the ODIs and the T20s. we had gone in thinking that it would be a high scoring series. There was just one score of more than 300. Obviously, when India batted in that second innings of the first match they won, they would have gone on to score a 300. But what we saw in the Australia series and what we have seen so far in the previous series in England is that you regularly get matches where 350, 370, 400 have been scored, and there was a 480 obviously against Australia. This did not happen in this series. So that was the first clue to the weather being how it is, more friendly for the spinners. We were all enchanted by the fact that the Indian spinners are bowling well, but there was that support for the Indian spinners as well because of the pitch. And given how England have chosen their squad, I have a feeling that even they realize that the weather is going to be no different for the test matches, at least for the first test match heading into Birmingham. That said, the weather forecast in these last couple of days and the next 2 or 3 days is for it to be a little overcast. So that might help the pitch preparation from an English perspective.
But I was checking the weather, which constantly does change. Again, we're back to the weather. Match begins, I think it's a Wednesday, and Thursday there is some likeliness of rain. I was checking this morning, but I'm not talking about Mumbai weather where it is raining, but it is. It's. I think that could then make changes to the way the pitch is.
So once the test match starts, it's all it's down to luck, the kind of weather there is. But what I personally feel is that England will want a pitch that is grassy. I think let's assume that Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Jasprit Bumrah were fit, especially Bhuvi, he was fit. Say 3 months back when England were probably trying to figure out what kind of squad would they go for, what kind of pitches would they need, what were the conditions. At that stage, given the three options, a spin-friendly pitch, not as spin-friendly as we find in the subcontinent, but spin-friendly by English standards, vis-a-vis a flat pitch for batsmen, vis-a-vis a seam-friendly pitch. They would have gone for a seam-friendly pitch, but with that the condition that there is a Bhuvneshwar Kumar in the opposition lineup, there's an Ishant Sharma in the opposition lineup, and there is a possibility of Bumrah being in the opposition lineup. So their own batsmen, English batsmen who have struggled in the last couple of series, would have to face the same music. That would be 3 months back. Now that Bhuvneshwar Kumar is not fit, I think they would love for a green pitch because they know there is no Bhuvi, there is no Bumrah. They would need a green pitch. Having said that, the weather takes control of that because A, preparation for that would be difficult. B, even if you get that grass on the pitch, once it starts getting hot in the lead up to the test match or during the test match, the dryness does not allow the grass to remain green. And once that doesn't happen, seamers, as the match progresses, find it difficult to get as much seam and swing movement. The spinners come in first, the batsmen probably, and then the spinners come into their own. An ideal pitch, all these years of what we have learned, is a pitch that helps pace bowlers to begin with.
And
flattens out,
get wear and tear, and
flattens out to become a little bit batting friendly on days to end of day 2, 3 and beginning of day 4, and then the spinners come into their own. I have a feeling, given the weather, given what England want, given the composition of the two teams, this is how it could well be. An ideal looking pitch for all us test fans.
Well, it's interesting because a lot of somebody like David Lloyd, the way he's been tweeting about his predictions it's making me think that it might just be that way.
It's been all over the place. He has given, dished out a few predictions. I think
he said England bat first, score 638 in 47 overs, a world record. India reply with 872 in 63 overs. Anderson taking 7 for 197 in 21 overs.
I think he's just joking. I think he's just taking a mickey out of those fans.
He's pushing it to a draw. But yes, all those people are pushing.
I mean, if they score 647 overs, I think this draw is out of the window. But I think jokes aside, I think you expect that kind of a feel that you get that seamers will get their own in the beginning. But what we've seen of that Essex India warm-up game as well is that it was swinging even in the second session, although the outfield was as dry and barren as it was. We've seen pictures of woefully undercooked outfield. You probably see such outfield. You probably not even see them in the domestic cricket in India. You see much better outfields these days. But despite that, the ball was swinging around. Even on the second day, Umesh Yadav was getting the ball to swing away from the batsman. Whatever I saw of his bowling, whatever I saw of the rest of them. So you expect that, but I have a feeling spinners will come into their own.
And speaking of spinners, and since we are talking a lot about England, let's just get to the point of where we started when we were referring to Adil Rashid being in the team. Do you think I was listening to the BBC radio commentary during the Essex India match, and a lot of people feel, or commentators at least, felt hard done by with the fact that Adil Rashid is allowed to be back. He's back in the team.
Michael Vaughan has been pretty vocal against the selection. I think Nasir Hussain had a video. Sky Sports released a video of Nasir Hussain speaking against the decision as well. So I don't think there are a lot of happy people there. And so the first point here is Adil Rashid good enough to play in test matches? We'll get to whether the decision made was right from a county perspective, but is he good enough to play in test matches? Now, he's done well. He took that Kohli wicket, which probably raised his stocks, and we've been talking a lot of stock market before this, but it raised his stocks to those levels that he was actually chosen or even spoken about in terms of selection. But you look at the domestic record, he's not playing red ball cricket in this season, but the last 2 seasons, if you compare those with a Dominic Bess or a Jack Leach, his average in the county championship is 37, which is okay if you consider the conditions. But on those very pitches, Dominic Bess and Leach averaged 26. So there are 2 guys out here who have done well, who were the incumbent spinners. Leach was the incumbent spinner. He got injured. Dominic Bess came into the squad, and suddenly you have both of them dropped. And a guy who doesn't want to play red ball cricket, a guy who's been averaging 37 red ball cricket over the last 2 seasons, being selected in the team. And I can understand where all the pain is. A, is he good enough to play? B, the point that everyone is raising, that it undermines county cricket to an extent.
Yes, that is the point that's being raised, and it also now adds a lot of pressure on a player like Adil Rashid, that someone who said he wanted to focus on white ball cricket, and now he's back and he has managed, which has ended up sidelining 2 players who are actually doing pretty decently well, better than him, of course. So does that add that sort of pressure now to prove himself?
It adds pressure to prove himself. There is no doubt about it, because the whole world is talking about you. At least the English fans are talking about it. There is a definite case of fans taking sides. We're looking at someone like a Michael Vaughan and Nasir Hussain saying things like it was a bad call given the bigger picture, because the bigger picture is very simply that here is a format, a tournament, a county tournament, where he said no to it. He said that he wants to focus on his white ball cricket, and all of a sudden the selectors say that the hell with his decision, we are going to bring him in. And I think the Yorkshire chief executive has said it. You know, he's hit the nail where it belongs. He said something on the lines of I hope ECB knows what they're doing to Adil Rashid and to county cricket, and that's all he has said, and that makes so much sense.